Hello, my name is Philip Stump, and this is my final presentation for College 100 at American Military University on occupational safety and health. I chose this career because among many things in life, I enjoy helping others. Being involved in safety is one of the most important and influential jobs and is an integral part to the workforce machine. An occupational safety and health professional's job is to enforce regulations so that an employer is in compliance to ensure a safe work environment for employees, regardless of cost. In the safety culture that we live in today, where did we come from and what have we learned? On November 28, 1942, nearly 30 years before the occupational safety career field was started, a tragedy struck a Boston, Massachusetts nightclub that would begin to change the safety culture forever. Before this accident, there wasn't much thought in fire safety, or safety at all for that matter. The nightclub had exits, but some were chained shut, locked, or not marked at all. According to the BostonFireHistory.org website, the only public exit was up a narrow stairway which led to one small revolving door. As a fire broke out in the basement, it quickly led up to the floor above, and panic began to set in. As the patrons began to realize what was happening, they headed for the only public exit available, the door they all came in. But as it was estimated, nearly 1,000 people were in attendance that night, and it is almost impossible for that many people to escape through one small exit. As the fire was put out in merely minutes, the gruesome horror was about to set in. The BostonFireHistory.org website said, many patrons who were able to exit under their own power collapsed in the street, and stacks of bodies, both living and the dead, were buried shoulder high at many of the exits. Getting inside to help proved nearly as difficult as getting out. But this wasn't the only thing that took place to change the way we do business. Dr. Mark Friend talks about a few more tragedies in the book Fundamentals of Occupational Safety. In Monongah, a sleepy West Virginia town in the hills of Appalachia, 362 coal miners were killed in 1907. Nearly every family in the town was affected by the disaster, but little was done for the survivors. And in 1968, 78 coal miners were killed in Farmington, West Virginia, when an explosion ripped through the Consolidated Coal Company mine. Only a few miles from the infamous Monongah site, this disaster devastated the whole community. A town, a state, and a nation were outraged and called for federal intervention into the conditions killing citizens in the workplace. Dr. Friend also goes on to say that before the implementation of the OSH Act, nearly 14,000 deaths and 2.2 million workers were disabled as a result of the workplace accidents. So what happened as a result of all these deadly accidents that tore families, communities, and organizations apart? Almost 30 years after the Boston fire, on December 29, 1970, the Occupational Safety and Health Act was signed by President Richard Nixon. The act was actually put into place and mandated by Congress on April 28, 1971, marking the official birth date of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. The goal of the OSH Act and of OSHA is to ensure employee safety and employer responsibilities. It ensures employer compliance by issuing often hefty fines for non-compliance. Employers are required to know the OSH Act and how it directly relates to their workplace. Oftentimes, an OSHA inspector will conduct a no-notice inspection to verify that they are abiding by the rules and regulations set forth by Congress. Who would be impacted the most by the OSH Act? One other part of the OSH Act is the General Duty Clause. It requires that every working person be provided with a safe and healthful workplace. Because of the legislative nature and the fines imposed for non-compliance, some would say that the employer is impacted the most. Others may argue that the employee is affected the most. Because of the protection and the sense of security, employees are also protected from retaliation or reprisal. This means that an employer cannot fire an employee for reporting an unsafe work practice or an unsafe work environment. Since we have come so far, is this still a vital career field to our workforce? Although we have made many improvements, this career is still a valuable asset in the workplace toolbox. According to a news release from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there were 4,836 fatal workplace injuries in 2015 alone. Yes, that is a long way from over 14,000 before the OSH Act was put into place, but it's still too many. Of course, this career field is still an important choice. Since we are all humans, we oftentimes get complacent. We are all fallible, we make mistakes, and it is the job of the safety professionals to help keep us safe. It's because of their continuing efforts that millions of people make it home to see their families each and every night. It is also their job to ensure employers don't cut corners to put employees at risk for accidents and protect individuals who feel like they need to speak up when they see unsafe acts. Why would anyone want to choose this career field with all of the regulations? And if you were to choose it, do you have what it takes? Just by looking at salary alone, the safety and occupational health career field is an enticing opportunity. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary for an occupational health specialist in 2016 was $70,000. But who employs a safety specialist? Many companies and organizations in the private sector employ safety specialists. On BLS.gov, it is stated that the top employers in the safety field are the federal government, including the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, manufacturing, construction, followed by state and local governments, excluding education and hospitals. On top of the salary that is associated with this career choice, the work environments and work schedule are typically appealing as well. Because they are always on the go, it seems that office time is trumped by field work. Safety specialists typically work a full-time schedule that is Monday through Friday, but like most occupations, they may be needed on weekends and holidays as well. If one were to be interested in beginning a career in the safety field, a few things may be required. Also on the BLS.gov website, it says that a bachelor's degree is usually required. It also goes on to talk about a few of the qualities that one may need to acquire before beginning this career choice. A few of the qualities the Bureau of Labor Statistics website recommends are problem-solving skills, physical stamina, and communication skills. This career field is just as valuable today as it was in 1970. As technology progresses, so will safety standards. Things will become more advanced, and it will be the job of the occupational safety specialist to use their problem-solving skills to keep the employee safe. People oftentimes don't see the hazards before it's too late. It takes another set of objective eyes to intervene. It may not be the fastest growing career field, but it is definitely the safest choice. Thank you for watching my presentation on occupational safety and health.